So hello and welcome to another episode here at Scriptcase by Jamie. And today we are going to be diving back into our project again and making some further adjustments. So without further ado, let's dive in, shall we? Okay, so I'm going to then log into my Scriptcase environment and of course go ahead and open up the project that I have here. Okay, so our current project, let's have a quick look at it. We have recently, just in the previous video, which was last week for you guys, yesterday for me, we had updated the database as well as made a few adjustments to some applications. And since then, well, I had some spare time this morning because I was up super duper early and, well, let's have a look, shall we? So we have our clients area, and what I want to do first of all is, well, the clients made a suggestion, the random client that I've just come up with that doesn't really exist, and they don't really want these fields here. So they want me to hide the address, area and zip, as well as the country fields on insert. And for the company, they also want to add a button here so they can add or edit the company that they have included. Okay, so for the companies, we pretty much want to do the same thing here on add. We want to remove no fields, but we do want to remove here the logo block, okay, which is displayed because that is only available after inserting the company. And the country, we don't want to have the default as Afghanistan, but we do want to make it mandatory. Okay, so we will remove the logo block and change the country and make some of these fields here mandatory. Okay, so let's dive into those first of all. So first the clients form. Let's come here first of all, and we can come here to edit fields. And from here, we can choose straight away. We have new and update. So for new form and the update form. Okay, so here I can choose to remove the address, area, zip and country on insert and save that. And what I'll also do is I'll come here to the country field and set that to use also a title and a blank title as well. Okay, so there's no value, no title, so that when you run it, you then have the country. So if I go add new, now we have those fields hidden, but then typically the country on initial edit will be blank. Okay, and then we want to also make those fields mandatory. And we can do that here also in edit fields, and we can say here required. So we say here country required, zip required, well, zip maybe not required, but country required, and save that. Okay, so then we can run that again, and let's go ahead and add a new customer or a new client. And of course we have here still the button, so we can make changes here to the company. So let's make adjustments to that one really quickly. So company. And then at the bottom here, we can go ahead and we have linking here, and we can create a link to our form companies. So I'll click next. So there's nothing to pass along. So there's no values or parameters as it says to pass along, and we can just confirm that. Okay, so if I now go ahead and run the form, and we can see now we have here an edit button. So I can click here the edit, and that will open the form for editing the company information. And if I go add new, we have here then also the edit, so I can actually add a new company straight away from here if I wanted to. Now we can make further changes to that later on, but for now, yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so here we have then also for our fields, I just want to make sure that we had an email field there set, just so we don't miss anything as we go along, and we make sure those other naggly things, you know, that they're done. Okay, so now it's actually finished then. So the form clients we're good with. Let's come here to the form companies, and then here we pretty much want to do the same thing. We could come to edit fields and remove those again, but we don't want to do that. We want to actually make the country required again, as well as the company email, okay, as well as then the company name. And thinking about that for the clients, let's also make those default fields mandatory also, shall we? So required client name. The company is not required, but we will require the client email address. Okay, so just like that, we have on the client form, so if I go add new, we can see there that these two fields are now required. And for the from companies, we also have then here the fields now as required. Okay, so for the country again, let's go ahead and adjust that. So here again, we will see what happens when I click here the use title and go run. And then we can go add new. And now we have no country selected, see? And then we could just search for the country that we want. So I could search there for United Kingdom if I wanted to, and it's much easier to use. And we don't have Afghanistan there straight away, and that is then not inserted by default. Okay, so here we also want to hide the logo block. Okay, so here for the form companies, if I come here to our events and then on load. Okay, so what I'll do then here is I'll come down here to our insert code examples that we have here and use the show and hide a block. Okay, and that will then hide the logo block that we have. Okay, so let's also come here quickly to layout and blocks and save along the way and make sure we have the name here for our logo block, which is block 0. So we can copy that and then come here to on load. And then what I'll do is I will add that here as a comment, block 0, and that is then our block equals logo block. Okay, so that we don't forget it later, and we can then identify that straight away within our values here. So we want to then say if a field is empty. So we have here our company name. So let's add our company name in here, company underscore name. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll add another bracket around here and then another one at the beginning and type in there empty. So if empty, company name, then we will hide the blocks. And the block is block 0. So we need to adjust these ones here to be block 0, and then it's on or off. And I think it's actually the reverse way around that we want. So if it's empty, it's off, and if it's full, it's on. So let's just test that anyway. Let's go ahead and run. And then we can see we have our application. So it's not empty right now. We are displaying the logo. And if I go add new, we now no longer have the logo block there. Okay, so that application is then already much nicer. And of course, a little easier for our end users to use. They don't get overwhelmed with more information or anything there. Now, one other extra I wanted to add into this application is actually a list of all of the clients. So let's go ahead and think about adding that. So for our clients, I need to actually copy the grid clients again, but we actually have our company clients here. And that's pretty much what we want, right? So I'm going to go ahead and copy that one, and I'll go call it grid, and I'll call it company clients, and I'll give it an underscore inc. So I know it's an included file. Okay, so it's just an application I'm using on the side, which is configured maybe differently for inclusion. Okay, so here I will then go ahead and make some adjustments. So here we have the client name. We would more than likely want to display more information than this. So let's have a quick look at the SQL. And well, we see here we have the ID companies, ID clients, B company name, and A client name. So we have our tables, and we see here, if I log into our database, we can then see here our tables. So we have our clients as well as our companies table. And what we want to do is actually take some more information here from the clients table. So I want to reference some of these other fields that I have here. So for instance, now we have a.client name. So we will replicate that, a.client underscore address. And there we have his address. Okay. And then maybe we don't want the address. Maybe we just want the country. So let's actually add the country. Okay. And make sure we add a comma after the client name because it was actually the last entry. And let's zoom in there a little bit so we can see that a bit better. Also going blind in my old age. Okay, so now if I go a client country, comma, and I will then space that again, a.client underscore, and we will then also take the active, and there's no client underscore this time, so we just want active. So let's go change that to just active. And if I save that now and run the grid, and we can add a 1 in there for the first company. We have no new information in there yet because we have not added the fields into the view yet, but we have not received an error within Scriptcase. So our fields and our select here is good. So I'll come here to edit fields, and then what I could do then is I can drag up here the client country. So then I'll change that to just country, maybe just name, and then move here the status up as well. And I can save that. Now if I run and 1, now we have the country as well as the active status of that user. Okay, so we can change the status. So I'll come here first of all to fields, active, and right now it's an integer. So we want to change that to be a yes or no. So here for lookup method, I would choose manual and I'll say label yes and 1, insert, and no, 0, insert. And just like that, I have made that adjustment, which we'll see in a moment. First of all, let's change here also the country. So we have the country fully displayed. Again, manual. And as before, we have to choose the lookup definitions and apply that. So if I now go run, and I'll zoom back out again, and enter 1, and there we then have our new grid with the name, the country, as well as the active status. Okay, so now let's insert that here into our form companies. So company clients Inc., we can just double check our SQL here, and we have our variable there, which is what we are passing along. So we can reuse that within the form, within this form. Okay, so here within the form, I'm then just going to come down here to master detail form and go new detail. Now I want to create a new block as well because I want it to be displayed next to the logo, and we will set that up as a tab as well. So here I will then say company underscore client, or in fact, let's just change that to list underscore clients. Okay, and clients list. Now I may want to change this label because of course we have language variables applied. And talking about language variables, well, I have another little surprise for you. So if I come here to the application language of this project and start to have a look through our language titles, and you'll see I've started to actually provide the translations, not for all of them, but for the first few blocks. Okay, so that first of all, we can actually test the languages, we can see the language changing and so on. And secondly, because I thought I'd give you a head start. Now, if I have the time, I will continue and complete the rest of these. Maybe not as we continue on within the project, but we'll see. Okay, but for now, know that there are some of these blocks already pre-translated for you, which is awesome, right? Okay, so here for our label, for our block that we are now going to create here, we would want to create a new label. So here in application language, we have here the client email. I don't see anything there that is suitable to use. So table clients, here we can use the clients. So here I'll grab this language variable, I'll just copy that, come here to the form companies, and don't forget the curly brackets, and paste then the language variable within the brackets. Okay, so now that's done, I'm going to go ahead and click the create button, and now I just need to choose or select here my company clients Inc., the one I just created, this one here. Okay, so I'm selecting that, I'm going next, and now I need to pass along that variable. Okay, so we just need to choose that variable that we are using, and that is of course here the ID companies. So if I confirm that, I can then change or modify the final details here for the view of the grid within this application. So here I can choose the initial mode of this. If I want to have a search there, in this case, it doesn't make sense, but in some scenarios, it may make sense to have this as a search. For now, I'm just going to set it as a grid. You can indicate the number of lines or columns that you want to display, if you want to hide the header or not, as well as if you want to enable the navigation buttons. So I will enable those and not display the header. I will leave the iframe width and height, but we can define those as well. But I will also, however, remove here the margins as well as the border. Now for paging, we will go partial because we have enabled here the active navigation buttons. So I'll save that, and then I can actually go ahead and run my application. Okay, so now I have here my block, list clients, and we see how that is already. So let's go ahead and make a few adjustments to that. Okay, so I see straight away already, before we even get there, that the label was not applied. So I will need to apply that again. So if I come here to our application languages, and here I will then paste that here into the block label. Here I will change the position to above and tabs, and it is 100%. Okay, so the label for clients, I don't think we actually need it because it's going to be the list of clients, right? So if I just remove that, click run, and now come here to clients, we now have here our grid. And now just to make that a little nicer, I'll come back here to the company clients, access settings, set the vertical alignment to top, as well as the grid modules for the width, and we then change here, make sure the width is at 100%. Okay, so that is good. Now if I save that and run here the company clients, we'll see a difference there already. It's nice and snug now. And if I run then here the form companies and come to clients, well, that is now also a bit snugger within this form. Okay, so we will also want to hide this clients block when we load here the form application. So let's come here to events, on load, and we then also adjust here the view for that block. Now I don't remember the block name, so let's come back here to block and be sure to save along the way. And that was list clients. Okay, so I'll come back here to on load and adjust that then to display then SC block display list clients. Now if I run again, now we see that we have no block here. So let's see here, off and on, not off and off. So run again, and there we go. So there we have now our clients list. And if I go add new, we don't have the clients list available. And just like that, we have a really cool companies form / application here for which we can manage our companies. And don't forget, we still have our notifications here that we added yesterday as well. So this is now really quite a nice functional form. Now we could add extra features and functions in here. For instance, we could add the possibility of emailing all of the clients or emailing everybody from within the company. For instance, like we have within the clients form, you could add another button here and then use that to send emails to everybody. Okay, that is entirely up to you. And of course, that is something that you could then go ahead and add. It's just a few more steps. And from there, you're already way ahead. Okay, so let's have a look then at our overall project so far, because, well, we want to see what it looks like now with those modifications. So here we have then our clients list. Okay, so we've just made adjustments to those forms, and that's lovely now, a bit nicer and easier, and you know, a bit of a difference between the two, and it already feels like it's a different application. Companies as well, you can edit here and see all the information according to the company. And of course, we could even remove the edit button here and click on the company name maybe. Let's make a few of those adjustments actually. So if I come here to the grid companies, the first thing I definitely want to do is adjust here the detail and the editing so that they are also on the right hand side, just like the clients. Okay, and with that then also on the right, let's go ahead and run that again. And now here we want to add a link to the company name, so it also goes here to the edit. So here on application links, I'll create a new link, And on a field link, we don't have the edit link available no more because we already have the linkage created for editing applications. Okay, so now if I choose here the field that I want to link, and that was the company name. Then I'll go next, and then just below that, of course, I can choose again the form companies. And next, and we are passing the ID companies. The field it is not a fixed value or no value. It is a field that you have available within your application, and the value is then also ID companies. We confirm that, and then of course we can choose if we want to open that in the same window, in a modal window, in an iframe, in a tab, open at parent. The choice is really yours, and some of these options really give you a completely different view on how your applications function, look, and it's really cool. So in this case, I will just go ahead with modal, and of course we can adjust that at any time, and then I'll save that. And if I go run, now here, when I click on the company name, that will open up inside of a modal window. Now I think we will actually leave it the same as the other applications. It makes a little more sense, doesn't it? So modify that again to make that a change. Okay, to make that change, you can just click here on the properties link and make sure, of course, it is the correct one that you're changing. So we're adjusting here the company name, and we are linking also to the form companies. And we want to change that here on the link operation mode from modal to open in the same window. So we have it the same as the other applications, just for uniformity, you know, keep everything uniform and looking nice. Okay, so now when I click here on the company name, that will also go there to here the edit. Now, what do you think? We apply the same to the clients? Why not? So grid clients, let's come into the grid clients, application links, create a new link, and again here the client name, next, and then form clients, next, and we're passing the same ID along again because we want to view the same information, open the same window, save, run that, and then we also have now the link that also goes to here the edit. So we could remove the edit entirely. That is entirely up to you. I'm kind of a fan of removing the edit because, well, we have no hover effect there. Once we add the other action bar icons, there is a difference, and well, they're not the same. So when we are able to change those in the future, well, maybe then I would consider leaving them. For now, I would maybe remove them and just use the link. That is entirely up to you. The edit icon, of course, has been there forever, so maybe you will want to keep it. Okay, so let's have a look then at where we are. So we have here our clients. We have made a few adjustments here, which are really nice, I think, made this feel like a bit more of a real application. Now, what I would like to do is actually add a few more details in here. So let's go ahead and test out this application that we've created, shall we? So if I add a new client, shall I say, and I'll say Jack Nicholson, if I spell his name correctly, and company, wow. There is no company yet. We have no company. So let me click here on edit, and then I can go add new, and I will give him, say, a whiskey biz. Right. And let's call it biz@whiskey.com. Okay. There's no address, country. Well, he's in Scotland, isn't he? Right? Because that's where you have the best whiskey. So, well, sorry, Scotland, but you're still under United Kingdom. So, okay, United Kingdom. There we go. So I will add that. That has now been added, as it says here, new record inserted successfully. And it's important to note that those messages here that pop up for the forms, you can change those, just as we had done previously. Okay, now that has been done, and we come back here. Now we have no refresh here. That sucks, doesn't it? So when we then do that, maybe we actually want to change this so it doesn't open in the modal, but then maybe goes to the company. So I will need to come back to clients again, add new client, and now, of course, I still have no company there. But I do have here the company displayed. And remember, we had the active and inactive status set. And of course, now I've added this new company, and well, they're inactive. So when I come here to my clients and want to add them, we are only displaying active companies here. Okay, so we will need to make an adjustment there. So here for companies, if I come then here to form companies, and we have a few ways of doing this. We could come here to edit fields and set here the DB value. Okay, so here for DB value, for active, we can say define value is 1. Okay, and that will ensure that whenever you now insert a company, the company will be active. Okay, so let's go ahead and test that again. Let's add now a new company. And what should we call this company? Okay, so I'll call this company the Explosive Company. Let's call it Explosive Company. And exp@home.com. That would do. And of course, I need to choose a country. And well, I'll let them be in Afghanistan. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so I add that. And we now have straight away the status as active. So let's go ahead and also enable the active status here for our whiskey business and save that. And then of course we can come back to our form clients, which we had here. So let's run our project again, form clients, add new, and then of course we have the companies displayed there. So I'm guessing of course our company would have been displayed there if we would have had it as active. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it by adding a new client then. So I will call him David Smith. And the company name, well, I need to add a company again. So again, I'll go add the company name, Stage Design, email, stage@company.com. So that would do. And country, we need to choose it. So I'll choose Antarctica this time, add that, new record inserted, close that window, and there we have our company added. So no problems with that. It was really just because it was not active straight away. So that confirms that. And of course, we can continue then with our applications. So let's add Smith here actually, smith@home.com. Okay, so I will add that. Country field is required and we have no country field displayed. So there we already have our first error. And form clients, let's go ahead and adjust that. Now we could remove the required or we could display the field. So I will display the field, generate that, and then we can actually come back here to clients. I'll just copy here the David Smith. In fact, I'll copy the email address. Clients, add new, email address, David Smith. We choose then here the Explosive Company, and then we can add the country, and I'll say Antarctica. So I will add that, and there we have our new record inserted successfully. Okay, so if I come here to companies, I can now see we have multiple companies here, and clients, well, we have multiple clients, and we have 2 David Smiths. Now, what we may want to make sure, of course, is that our company names are unique. And, well, I think maybe we'll look at that in the next video because, of course, we would not want to have the same customers displayed. Okay, so one final quick change we'll make, though, here for the client name. Our list here currently has no records found. I'm not really a big fan of that, so I want to just quickly adjust that. So here I will then come to the companies, company clients, SQL, and here I can change the message. So I use customize message and I will give my own message. And again, what I will do then is come here to application language, come to general, and here add a new message, lang, no clients. No clients found. Okay, and add that, update the messages, and then we were here in our good clients, and then here I would then add that language variable in there. So when I run that, and there are no clients, so now if I go 9, there are no clients found. Okay, and that will of course also be in the local language of the user. Okay, so that's a little clearer than no records found because, well, it's a little nicer, I think. Okay, so I think that is pretty much it for today. And of course, before we finish up, let's have a quick look at where we are. Okay, so we have our clients grid. We've added a few extra clients in here, and of course added a few extra links so we can access our data a little easier. We have also our companies in here, and for our companies we had added here a master detail grid for our form grid, master detail. Very easy, so easy to apply, and that is of course very easy to see. Now we could make a few adjustments here and color this active field maybe. We'll look at that maybe later. But for now, I think that's really cool already. Okay, so we have then also our email logs, our email templates still. I did still want to make a change here, but yeah, time has been going on. So maybe also in the next video. We'll see as we go along. But for now, that is it. So thank you very much for watching this week's video. I hope you have enjoyed it and of course, hopefully learned something from this. And I'll see you in the next video.